Hey everyone, I'm Sue. Welcome to Blue Heron Hill. Here I am in the kitchen again. I just put out a video on making fruit juice. You can see I have some still in the quart jars. Hasn't gone downstairs yet. Just washed them up. They'll be ready to leave my counter and get put on my pantry shelves downstairs. But today, all about cleaning out my freezer, deep diving into that freezer and seeing what I have. I have to make room for the new summer season coming up. I did find some stew meat that has been in there for a while, and before it starts freezer burning, I wanted to can that up. I usually am kind of more of an ingredient canner, and which means separate ingredients that I can up, and then I can mix them all together. But today, I thought I would just mix up a beef stew. I had a bag of fresh carrots that had been in the crisper for quite a long time, so before they get kind of rubbery. Still working on my onions from last summer. Have a couple that are starting to sprout, so I'm going to process those all up so I don't lose them totally. But I have been amazed with this brand of onion, Patterson by Dixon. I get them from Dixondale Onion Company. Growing them again this year because they are amazing. Anyway, celery. I'm almost all out of my frozen celery from last year, so I had a fresh one, cut it all up. I'm using that. Potatoes. I'm using fresh potatoes. They were on sale at the market. I have quarts and quarts of already processed potatoes down in my pantry. But for this recipe, I'm not going to recan potatoes that have already been processed through the process. And of course, then I have my meat. So very simple process. I want to take you along and can up some meals to go here. So let's get to it. Okay, brought you in a little bit closer. I'm going to do 7 quart jars. 7 quarts are all that fit in my Presto canner. So if I have anything left over, that's going to be dinner tonight. So my beef is cut up in fairly uniform sizes. I'm going to put in, I don't know, 8 to 10 in each quart. You want to mush them down a little bit. I'm going to go and do all of these, and then we'll see what we have left over. Now, if you just want to do plain beef, that's fine. This is the raw packed method that I am using. I find it works well. If you want to brown your meat beforehand, that's also a good option. All right, looks like maybe I have anywhere from 1/4 to 1/3 of the jar. Next, I will put in potatoes. I like to put the seasoning right down on top of the meat before I start putting my vegetables on. But you don't have to add seasoning. It's even adding salt is just a seasoning option. Salt is not necessary for the canning process. Looks like I have plenty of potatoes left over, I think, and I do have meat left over, so I think it's beef stew for dinner. Next, I'm going to put some carrots in here. We are getting up to the top. Some celery. All right, and let's not forget onions. Now we want to pack this to about 1 inch headspace. That's why I'm putting my onions in last, because they're going to fit down in those little cracks and crevices there. Always feel that when I take the jars out to make a meal, I can add whatever seasonings I like. So some of my favorite seasonings would be thyme, and of course, maybe a little oregano and salt and pepper. So, quite a bit of onions left over. These I may just flat freeze right in the freezer. Okay, there they are. Now, I'm just going to fill these with some broth. I just heated up my broth a little bit. My jars were warm. I have some warm water in my canner already. And fill it to 1 inch headspace. You don't have to use broth. Beef broth I have here. You can use chicken broth, pork broth, vegetable broth. Even water is just fine. Important thing to do is to debubble. I always use a chopstick. I feel this is one of the most important tools in my kitchen. You want to make sure that there are no air bubbles, especially since we packed it down in there very tightly. And wooden or plastic is really what you want to use. Metal, you'll break the jars. Okay, debubbled, and I might have to, you want to maintain that 1 inch of headspace, so I'm going to have to pull out a little bit. I'm going to push down, pack it back down, so there should be no air spaces there, and it maintains the 1 inch headspace. If you're not familiar with where your headspace is on your jar, this is a cool little tool. Comes in most of those canning supply sets, and you just put it on your rim, and if this bottom hits your liquid level, then that is 1 inch of headspace. Now this one has a little bit too much in it, so I will take out a little bit. And that is perfect. Now, since I'm canning beef, which has fat in it, and my beef broth also has a bit of fat, and fat would be an enemy of a seal on your jars. So it's important to wipe thoroughly. And at this point is when I often check the rims of my jars for any nicks, because a nick will impede the seal also. Because you don't want all your hard work going to waste. Although, if they don't seal when they come out of the pressure canner, you can have dinner. But I have enough here to make dinner leftovers tonight. Okay, on comes the lids. These were in some warm water. They say you don't have to do that anymore, but I guess old habits die hard. Finger tight is all that's necessary. I go till just some resistance and then just a bit further. little resistance and a little bit more. Okay, they're ready to go in the canner. Here we are. I've got my canner. It's on a medium high. The 7 jars of beef stew are in here. This is going to vent for 10 minutes when you finally see steam coming out of it. And then this is going to get, in my area, I need 10 pounds of pressure. And we are going to can this for 90 minutes. So, and as you can see right over here, I have my Dutch oven heating up because I've got to cook up the rest of this meat, and I have enough for dinner tonight. When this is all browned up, I'll show you the ingredients that I then put in here, and then I usually just let it simmer away for a couple hours, and voila, dinner. So I'll be back. Okay, my meat is browning up nicely. Got a nice little sear on that. So some people take the meat out and then put your aromatics in. No, I'm just going to put them all in right like that. I even throw my carrots on if they can get a little bit of a burn to them, a little browning, all the better. All right, I look for my onions and the celery to be a little on the translucent side. And I think they are about that. So I think those are my potatoes. And here are the seasonings that I use. I have 2 bay leaves. They're rather on the small side. If you have a large one, just do a large one. Thyme. This is garlic. This is from my garden. I dehydrated my garlic and I just ground it up. It's a little on the chunky side, but that's okay. A little black pepper, and this is an herbed salt that I make. I'll put a link in the video description on the video that I made on how I made this. So these all go in. And then this is my leftover beef stock, and that's going to go right on top. When this comes to a boil, I'm going to turn it down onto a simmer and just let it simmer for about 2.5 hours. And then it's dinner. I'll be back when I take these out of the canner. Remember I said 90 minutes. Still has to get up to pressure and the steam has to vent for 10 minutes. I've got a kitchen to clean up. More dirty dishes. Okay, be back. All right, it's ready to come out. Look at that. Lovely. 7 meals to go into my pan. So here's a picture of dinner tonight. Thanks for watching. And if you haven't already subscribed, give me a thumbs up if you found this useful. Comment down below. I do lots of gardening videos and food videos, so I welcome you to follow along with me. So next time that we can go digging in the dirt or cooking in the kitchen. Bye.